Real estate agent, or are they for the customer? Stay tuned.
I'm the ringleader, so listen up.
Yes, we have our coffees. We haven't had much sleep, and if we look and sound like we just woke up, it's likely because we did. Big night last night, Mark. REB Awards at the Star Casino, one of the first events where everyone's been in one big room, lots of real estate agents, all in one big room together last night. How many people do you reckon there were there?
500.
500
It
people.
was weird.
Everyone was absolutely pumped.
It was
Everyone was pumped.
weird to have that many people
Yeah.
like at a bar or bunched up, and it was weird.
Yeah, hopefully, touch wood, hopefully we don't all end up with COVID.
2.5 years? 2 years.
It's been all over the shop. You know, we were allowed sort of around November, we were allowed to do, functions again for a very short time, but there was a lot of restrictions. I think this is the first time, Mark, since COVID hit that we've had unrestricted, these unrestricted functions. I hope I'm going to be able to string words together. We got home very late. So we weren't up for any awards last night. We didn't enter for any awards. To be fair, there are so many of them. And while we love the folks at REB, and congratulations to everyone who won those awards,
Legends.
so well deserved.
Some beautiful speeches.
Amazing.
I like that Kathy Baker's speech.
She's the best.
Humble in the jungle, man.
She's the best. Kathy Baker, guys. If you don't know a lady called Kathy Baker, I got to know her really well at AREC because her and I were sitting backstage together. We were talking, Kathy was talking before me, and we were both really like a nervous bag of bones. What a beautiful lady. What a story. What an inspiring woman. She took out a really big award last night. So huge congrats to Kathy. We've become great friends as well as a result of AREC. Yeah. So what do you reckon, Mark, about these awards? There's lots of them.
You know what? It all starts in high school. You know, you win the award.
Swimming carnival.
Merit
certificate.
Yeah. You get excited. You go home. You tell your friends. You tell your mum and dad. Everyone's happy for you. Nothing changes in the big wide world.
Yeah.
I think it's nice. And you know what? I also think I think your customers have helped you, and I think your customers are on that journey, and it's good for your customers to have that flag as well.
Yes, it is. It is. The problem is, and this is just my opinion, guys, but the problem is there are so many of these awards now. So you've got the Real Estate Institute Awards, you've got the REB Awards, you've got the Small Business Awards, you've got the Rate My Agent Awards, where I feel like every single person in the country wins an award. You've got the awards from last night, you've got the Local Business Awards. So I feel like social media now is just full of everyone winning awards, which is fine, absolutely fine. But, you know, it kind of takes the dazzle away a little bit for me.
I think the consumer's got to differentiate as well, because anyone in any coffee shop can just put up best coffee of the year.
Yeah. Jonathan, how are you?
Oh, we'll talk about Jonathan last
night. I agree with you, Jonathan. The best part was definitely getting out and about and together as an industry. Everyone was so happy to see each other. Sometimes I find, because real estate is an extremely competitive industry, more so than most, and sometimes I find you'll go to something in our industry and there's a lot of competitiveness there. That was definitely not the case last night. There were a lot of hugs, a lot of kisses. Everyone was very, very happy to get out and about. Kristen, you are a legend. Loved seeing you last night as well. And, you know, just on that, Kristen was up for an award. Not everyone can win an award. And so how does it make you feel when you don't win the award? The reality is, if you've been chosen out of probably hundreds of applicants and you even made it to become a finalist, it's something prestigious like REB. and I know I mentioned, Mark, there's lots of these awards, but REB are really, they're top notch. I think you've got to be proud and fly that flag. Fly the flag that you were the finalist, because out in the big wide world in the community, people don't know finalist, winner, it's such a big accolade. Just fly the flag anyway.
And people want to fly
be
the
proud
flag.
of that.
People want to fly your flag as well. So I think, your mum, your customers, your, there's, I think it does give people a USP, a unique selling proposition. I think consumers have to look at where the award has come from and understand that award. That's why I like the REI, because it's the Real Estate Institute. That's why I like realestate.com. They're pretty big bodies.
They're big. Yeah, REI is another big award. So yeah.
I think with looking at these awards, you've got to identify where they're coming from and what they're for. It's not just like, but you're right, everyone's bloody got one.
Rhys is saying, how are you guys so fresh so early? We're not. We woke up about 10 minutes ago. I literally whacked on a face of makeup. I've got my coffee here. We've had about 4 hours sleep. My eyes are stinging. But anyway,
7:18.
The show must go on.
7:18, Lisa said.
The show must go on. I'm not feeling it. I've got very big bags under my
minutes, yes.
But we did have a lot of fun.
12 minutes later, we were here setting up.
I know, a true story.
Ready to go live at 7:45.
The power of a bit of good lighting, I think, Rhys, as well. Friday Frenzy, guys. We just talk about everything that happened for this week. I tell you what, it's been another really, really crazy week, Mark, with appraisals and listings. Where are stock levels at collectively on the Northern Beaches? Because they've been like a bit of a roller coaster.
Stock is average 700 properties on realestate.com at the moment.
Yeah.
For sale. That's about an average.
Yes. There goes that. I'm taught at a school. Stock levels are average. Okay, and so this is being depicted in the open home numbers that we're seeing, which is literally changing from week to week as stock levels fluctuate, high, low, and average.
Investors are out there, hardcore investors are out there.
Yeah, absolutely they are.
Occupiers are down.
Yeah, I'm still finding.
Actually, you know what? I was talking to Queensland agents last night.
Yeah.
Guess what they were telling me?
What?
Slow down.
Yeah, it did slow down. I agree.
But it took them a while.
It did.
They were the last probably market across Australia to actually, just not shit the bed, but just
some Melbourne agents as well. I was having a chat with Andy Reid. What a legend of a guy. Another person that you guys should follow, Andy Reid, REID, I think is how he spells his surname.
He won an award.
Yeah, he won an award. Awesome guy. He was also telling me that stock levels have, everything's just plateaued out now. It'll be interesting to see, however, because we've been seeing so many sea change, tree change people, Mark, it's going to be interesting to see what happens now as a result of those floods. Absolutely catastrophic.
Yeah, we're talking about a lot of that.
And can I just say, our heart goes out to anyone that is in those affected areas. It is absolutely horrific. I was talking to a client yesterday who's living around the Lismore area, and it's just awful. It really is. So our hearts do go out to those people.
It's amazing that I know everyone's been worried about interest rates, but I think you got to look at that market being sensitised, being sensitive, and being robust and being able to take an interest rate hike.
Yeah.
And I think with what's happening with the floods to our economy, and I think what's happening with overseas markets, Russia and Ukraine and stuff like that, I think that's brought on a little bit more attention to the RBA to say, look, do we really want to sock everyone for an increase at the moment? Let's just hold off for a month. So
here's Andy's on now.
That's probably good news.
Andy, so good to meet you guys. So good to meet you. Sorry, I'm half asleep still. We were just talking about you. Great to meet you face to face last night. The power of social media makes you feel like you already know these people. Jonathan's one of them. Where you're communicating with these guys over social media for years, and then you get to meet them face to face, and it's like, I can't remember if we actually met or not in person because we know each other so well.
It's almost like you catch
Auctioneer of the Year, well done.
You catch people's eyes.
Yeah.
Like it's like, oh, and then you're looking at him, I Because it's different to actually when you've met someone and you're like, now that guy, hey, how are you? But through social media, you just know so many faces of so many people.
Yes.
And you're sort of like, you're trying to think, is that guy? And they look different in a suit. Oh,
Yeah.
I've got a good one to talk about.
What?
The difference between people's profile photos and them in real life.
Don't name names.
I'm not naming names, but real estate agents are the worst of this business.
Yes.
So
No, hang on. The worst or the best? Hang on a sec. We're also marketeers.
They are the worst when you see the photo on a card or on an award.
You better not be talking about me.
And then the person
He's gonna be in big trouble.
gets up and for the award, and you're like,
who was that person?
is that the, like, guys and girls? You've got to get your fresh
You
up.
do. Yeah,
And,
yeah.
and I'm actually probably one of those people with the wrong photo, but I've got to admit it. But you've got to freshen up your photo. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
that's going to hurt you, ladies.
Not just your photo, but you got to keep your profile stuff really relevant as well. It's super important.
bad.
So if you
in
think
the real estate industry, it is terrible. Like you see customers like with the card going,
it's true.
Yeah.
It's true. But, you've really got to keep those profiles very, very relevant, and it's hard because you forget, like people will go onto your LinkedIn profile, particularly, prospective vendors. They'll jump onto your LinkedIn profile, or they'll jump onto your Facebook, or they'll jump onto your, your little profile piece on realestate.com, and they'll read it. And sometimes there's stuff on there like, your most recent award was from 2018. So, and if you haven't had any since then, fine. But if you have, update it all, tell people.
nothing worse than getting someone's card and the first emotion you feel is sorry for them.
Why?
Because you look at their photo and you look at them and you go, oh, rough couple of years, buddy.
You better not be talking about me. I just had a new profile photo done not that long ago. Just sneaking back to 10 years, kilos ago for a profile picture. Ain't that the truth? Oh, my goodness. Unbelievable. What else has happened this week? Lots of great new stock has come on. So I've had a bit of a big listing week again, which is awesome.
I think
appraisal
I
week.
think sellers in the last week or 2 or 3 have actually realised that they may not be where they think they were price-wise.
Yes.
Because of the marketplace. So it was just such a bullish, I don't give a shit what the market's saying, I'm going to get that price and I will sell. And they did for 6 months. But now people are going, oh, all right. And I've had a lot of conversations.
I've had to have a couple of heart-to-hearts this week with some vendors, Mark, on pricing. And
yeah,
they were phenomenal. We had to get some meet the market pricing, some properties that I had actually appraised and signed up at the end of last year. And now here we are at the beginning of March. It took a little while for them to get their properties prepped.
Yep.
One of them was being renovated.
Yep.
By the time we actually brought it to market, that market had shifted.
Yep.
No one can control that. It's not the agent's fault. The agent cannot control what the market does.
They can't. But I think the sellers are now saying, and look, great dialogue that I'm having with clients is, look, I'm really sorry, you only made 270,000 instead of 300,000 in the last 12 months.
Well, that's the reality.
Going, what do you mean?
I love that. Yeah.
Look, I know you possibly could have made that 300 more, from in.
Yeah.
So, and as an example, it's $1 million. It's a $1 million apartment today. That's gone up 30% in 1 year, and maybe it's dialed back to 950 now, or 970. By the way, apartments haven't. Houses a little bit, but not apartments in our area. But that, when you're having that with a client saying, look, I know you probably could have got $1 million in when you probably could have made 300 more, but now it's going to be 270 more you're going to make in 1 year.
Yeah,
and they
that's exactly right. Because, for something like a 2-bedder in DY, Mark, we were selling these stock standard 2-bedders this time last year for about 700 to 750,000.
Yeah.
Now the lead-in price on a 2-bedder in DY sits at about 855, 860,000 for an absolute lead-in.
Jonathan, the supermarket, the IGA, which had a cap rate of 4 to 5%, which was expecting in between the 8 and 10 million. Lots of offers have come in, processing them last night with the liquidator who's selling it, and we should be going into
Watch this space.
Negotiations and conversations with these buyers today.
Watch this space.
Yes.
Just something else, Mike, to finish off is mental health.
Yep.
I was having a conversation with an awesome person last night about mental health.
A big one.
It's a huge one. It's not just in our industry.
I thought it was just real estate agents.
No, but the reality of what happens and it's and by no means am I a mental health expert, but we see it a lot in real estate. No doubt, we're seeing it a lot everywhere. But much. My God, my words are jumbled. This is what happens when I only just have a few hours sleep.
Too much alcohol.
Mental health.
But I do have to admit, I'm really proud of of people that wear the badge.
Yeah.
And I really have a soft spot for people to get up on stage and talk about it, and to get on the internet and talk about
Agreed.
it in order to help other people.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people in the real estate industry as confident as these.
Because, Mark, we burn out.
Yeah.
Because we burn out. So, and there's so much competitiveness, it can get to you. If you're taking one hit after another of not being able to get listings, we run ourselves down.
Yeah.
And I was having a conversation with this person last night who was saying, how do you kind of manage a lot of the stuff? Not negotiables, I find, is a really good thing, guys. If you feel like this is, you really struggle with the balance, as we all do, what we do, Mark and I, is we put these not negotiables in place. Start with small ones. So, i.e. Tuesday evenings, no matter what happens, we are at home early with the kids, 6:30. Friday nights, same thing. 2 hours, just 2 hours with no phone, 6:30 to 8:30, Tuesdays and Friday nights. And then Sundays, we like to try and have a family day if we can. And maybe that's just all of us lying on a couch, going for a walk, grabbing some lunch, whatever.
We try to move together. So even if one of the kids has got a birthday or something, we'd sort of all try to go to that birthday, move together on a Sunday.
Yeah. So that seems to work quite nicely.
And also,
by no means do we have it perfect either, but mental health is a really, really big issue. And respect to those people that do talk out about it to help others. Yeah. Hey, Rosie.
Rosie.
Always lovely seeing you. Beautiful Rosie.
She's a legend.
Yeah, absolute legend. Mark,
Right,
I think that's a show.
I think so. Everyone have a beautiful day. Lisa, have a beautiful day.
I feel like I want to go back to bed. Your fingers going in front of that screen. Mark's getting excited.
It's what it's going to be, Lee.
Mark's getting excited with his screensavers. Guys, have a great day. Have an awesome weekend. And thanks for tuning in.
Love you. See you. Bye.